So hello everybody, welcome to another episode of the Case broadcast. It's hello from me, Patrick Twitchett of Simplies.
And it's hello from me, Melvin Manning from M&M Consultancy.
And it's a big hello to our guest today, who is...
Hello everybody, Gary Fernon. Looking forward to this.
Indeed we are too. So as I always say to all of our listeners, and I'm sure by now Melvin knows exactly what's coming. Listen out, listen up, and listen in. And Gary is a master in the world of video. So Gary, I always like our guests to introduce themselves because I can never do it justice enough. So do tell us what it is that you do and what you're going to talk about today as well, please.
So I am a photographer and videographer, and that is exactly what I'm going to be talking about today, in the power of using both in today's sort of society of social media, really, and the popularity, or certainly the rise of video, and the benefits that you can get from video, but also the benefits you can still get from photography, even though that it's losing favour over video at the moment.
Yeah, sure. Excellent. And yeah, I think we see that reflected in social media. So lead us away with your sort of first point on the topic, please.
So the first thing I'll start with is photography. I started out in photography, so let's start there. And I think it's important for people to understand the power of documentative photography within their business. I've got some notes in front of me because there's a lot that I'd like to cover, and I don't want to miss anything. So if I do start to wander off, then obviously just
don't worry. You got me here, Gary.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Watch out for that one.
I'm the one that deals with. I'm the victim dealer. I deal with all the victims that we interview. So don't you worry about that. We'll get you nice and relaxed. But you've got 30 seconds starting from now. Go on.
all the victims are nice and relaxed.
Oh, we started off so well. It was going so smoothly for all of about 7 seconds.
Gary started.
Sorry, should I have said guests?
yeah. Victims, clients, guests. It doesn't matter. Right. So let's get back on track. Let's talk about, because I know I'm the one that's going to be editing this, aren't I? So
yes, you are indeed.
let's pull it back
Damn,
in.
I forgot all about that.
Right, so let's talk about documentative photography and why it's so important. People invest in people, and I think if you're in business, you'll understand that you invest in people before you do in businesses themselves. You are drawn to those people. And that's what you fundamentally make not your sole decision, but the bulk of your decision on is, can you work with that person? Do you like them? Can you work with them? And can you see a future in business with that individual? So the point of documentary photography is it allows clients, both or past, present, and future, a little glimpse into who you are and what your company or your business is all about, creating that community feeling, that relationship that makes them feel like that they know you, and that's the important part here, is especially given the last sort of 18 months, 2 years with COVID. We've all been at home. We've all been trying to progress our businesses without actually sitting down, meeting people, shaking hands, and having that sort of personal interaction. So how do you go about still creating that whilst at home? It's by documenting your process and allowing people a look through your window to see what it is that you you do, how you operate, and the sort of things that you can do. The key really is about building community and having that community feel. If you're not somebody that people can particularly warm to, if there's an issue that you're trying to find, or somebody that you're trying to get linked into or connected with, you're less likely to have people assist and go out of their way to try and help you out. Whereas if they feel that they know you, they like you, and they feel that you're a good fit for their own connections, they're more likely to pass on a referral for you, and to bring you into their own community, because there's an element of trust there. Obviously, this is just through the documentative process itself will only take you so far. Yes, you have to get out there, you have to talk to people. People need to know that you are personable and that they can work with you. And we are now coming out of the end of COVID, where we're going to start to be able to do that again, and that's going to push you over the line. So there are going to be lots of Zoom meetings that have happened. There's going to be lots of scrolling through social media, because people have had the time to do so. So when you now make that initial face-to-face meeting, having never met anybody before, most of those barriers are already broken down, because you've taken the time to invest in allowing people an insight into you, your company, and basically what you stand for. So it just kind of propels and breaks down loads of barriers, and just helps speed up that relationship, that community process. One of the other things that documentary photography can do, and video, but we'll stay focused on photography at the moment, is, let's be honest, people live vicariously through others. And I base that basically on the popularity of these fly-on-the-wall documentaries, or the what are those shows called?
Reality TV.
Reality TV. There we go. Thank you. Yeah. So the reality TV.
You watch too much television, Patrick.
No
wonder we don't get any work done.
If anybody's listening to this, watching this, that hasn't seen or connected with Patrick on LinkedIn, go do so, and you'll find out exactly what Melvin's just alluded to.
Yes.
I'll say no more than that. I'll leave it in a little feed.
Moving on.
Yeah, moving on. So yeah, if reality TV wasn't popular, nobody wanted anything to do with it, there wouldn't be so many reality TV shows. We live vicariously through others. We are inherently, as human beings, we are nosy. And we want to know what's going on in everybody else's life, because there's two sides to that coin. One, it makes us feel better about ourselves, but the flip side is you then can feel a bit more negative about yourself, because you're seeing what the editors of these shows, or what we want people to see. So we will only share and post the best parts of our day, of our life, of our business, because that's what we're trying to portray. So there are two sides to that coin. So you have to be careful. So when it comes to documenting your life through sort of your business and things, personally, and this is only a personal opinion, I think it's better to showcase both sides.
Yeah.
By showcasing both sides, it shows you're human.
Yeah.
By sharing your failures, your faults, or things that you've had to overcome, these hurdles that you've had to overcome, and that struggle to overcome it, I think people are just as important, just as interested in. But equally, I think it's something that not a lot of people do, and it's an area that I think businesses should be capitalizing on.
Yeah. So, Gary, I have some questions, but the questions can probably be answered in one answer, hopefully. In this instance, with regard to photography, can you give us an instance as to how these photographs might look?
Okay, so a document process for me is that I would spend a typical working day with you, and I would document start to finish. Okay, and it comes in in varying focal lengths. So we do wide angle, medium focus, and sort of close up, detailed shots. It gives you a variation of different aspects of your day. Now, depending on what your business is, you might get more of one than you do of another. So, for example, two contrasting sort of businesses that I've done this for, which probably work quite well, is I did it for a barbershop. So you had a lot of the shop and the team at work, and then you had, so they were my sort of my wide angle, my wide focal shots. So my mid focal shots were then isolating a barber with a client, haircuts and things like that. So we kind of narrow in, showcasing a particular member of staff at work. But then I also then went a little bit closer and then looked at tools that were being used, how the barber held hair and cut and crossed over with scissors and things like that. And the reason for that was, not only does it give a variety of images, a variety of content that they can use, but if they want to, then they can also talk about the techniques that they're using, the tools that they're using, and why they're using them, why they're using that technique over anything else. So, for example, I'm a barber's probably worst nightmare. I've got double crown, cow's lick, and my hair kind of grows out at the side quicker than it does at the top. I'm an absolute nightmare, especially for somebody who's probably first getting into barbering. But what a great topic I am to talk about. This guy's got a cow's lick. This is how I deal with this. This guy's got a double crown. This is how we deal with this. These are the tools that I use. So in one respect, I'm a barber's worst nightmare. But in another respect, if they flip it, they can turn that into an advantage for them. Yeah. And then, so to contrast that, I also I documented a move for a removal company. So there was a little less close up, a lot more wide angle and sort of mid focal shots for them. And it was literally just documenting the team pack up, load a van, unload at the other end, and sort of really to demonstrate the care and the time that they took not to damage property and how it was stored, just to show that they weren't just getting in a van, chucking in a van type of company. They were a company that took pride in what they did. They were all not jeans and t-shirt, they were all uniformed up. So there was that professional aspect or professional look to what they were doing as well. And I managed to obviously get some of the vans on the road as well and things like that. So these two very different businesses.
Yeah.
But both had a large number of.
So Gary, that's fantastic. However, you've obviously done all this work. You've got numerous shots and what have you. How are they then presented? And how does the client then use what you have been obviously employed to do?
Right. Okay. So there's two approaches to this. Now, the first approach is that they get all of the final images, and they can use them as however they want. With every job that I do, they get them in the same set of photos, but in two sizes. So that you have the full file size, the high resolution images.
Yeah.
But then they also have what I call the web ready. So if they're going to store them on devices, websites, post them on social media, they're the sizes that they share because they're a lot smaller without losing clarity in the shot, and they take up a lot less space. So
so Gary, you've reduced them to, I don't know what the LinkedIn is. It's probably like 1600 by 1600 pixels.
It's already it's already done. It's already done. Okay. So yeah. So what's best way to sound up? So here we go. Look. Just randomly sitting on my desk here. I have two bottles. So this is your high res, and this is your web ready. Yeah. So these would all be for your sharing on devices across the internet and things like that. And
so you'd attach that to an email, wouldn't you?
No, give them a USB. It's all on USB sent to them, so they've got it. And this is your real sort of high res files. They're the ones that they send off for printing and things like that.
Right. Okay.
All right. So that's what they get. That's option one, where they just get the photos and they're kind of left to use them as they wish. And then the other option is they get all those photographs, but I'll subdivide. I'll put them into separate folders, so you have your wide, your mid, and your close up shots. And then I would be suggesting to them these would be best used for, so the close ups ones of, certainly with the barbers, where you've got all the equipment, talking about techniques and brands that they use and things like that. And then with the other ones, it's more of a case of, if it's showcasing a particular member of staff, your focal point would be that member of staff, what they do, what they did, how they benefit their client base and things like that. And then the sort of the broad, wide shots are more, this is our business, this is what we do. So I make those suggestions. They're only suggestions. That it's not you will use these photos for this. This is my suggestion. This is how I think you can get the most out of that particular shot. And that's what it's all about.
Okay.
It's about...
So Gary, hang on just a second. What about if I want to do a video PowerPoint of my stills, where I want to put a voiceover on the top of it and I want to present through the PowerPoint without actually physically having to be there, to, you know, as an attachment to an email introduction to my potential and current client base? Is that something that you would recommend?
Yes, certainly. I think having a video message is a lot more personal, rather than just an email. So if I was to pick up my phone and I'd say to you, Melvin, it's Gary, don't forget we're meeting again at 2 o'clock today. Be good to see you. Looking forward to it. Rather than
I've got that, but I want to see the dozen hairstyles that the barbers have done, so that I can maybe, because I want my you know, I want to do a change to the old booth font.
Yeah.
So, you know, can you send me some styles? And obviously, we're talking about different things here, are we not?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So with the barbers, it was a typical day. So that they have a variety of different hairstyles, different haircuts, beard trims, and things like that. So
sure.
It's a portrayal of what it is that they can do.
Yeah. Well, whether it's a service, whether it's a product, whether it's whatever, I mean, there are many different ways of doing things that are provided by companies. So this is a good means, using still photography, to display that, because it is your shop window.
Oh, absolutely. Case in point there, Melvin, I took some photos for a local company who were dealing, or had designed and sort of created hand sanitizer machine, but had video capabilities and on-screen advertising incorporated. So it's ideal machine for large events and hotels and things like that.
Sure.
And what I did for them, having only taken the photographs, I then created almost like an infographic and used those images to create a motion advert for them, just from the photographs. So there is that crossover.
Sure. So if any of our listeners, if any of our viewers, whichever media that people are going to be watching this podcast on, want more information, obviously at the end of this, you'll give us your contact details and the communication emails, etc. And obviously you can send samples of this type of stuff, can you?
Of course I can. Yeah.
Fantastic. So are we kind of covered on this first point? Would you like to elaborate on any other aspects?
No, I think the key here is it's important to build community, and you do that through sharing both your successes and your failures.
Yes.
And I think certainly with the failure aspect of it, it's something that you can turn into a positive, because whilst you're sharing your initial failure, if you document the process and share that process, it hopefully will turn into a success, and then you create that story for people. And again, I think that's something that a lot of individuals, a lot of businesses tend to shy away from, because they want to constantly show their best product, put their best foot forward. I think that's something that the company should start to capitalize on.
I think that's a really good summary. And Patrick, shall we segue into the next section?
Yes, I would like to add a little summary point before we segue, if that's all right, Melvin. But I think James Burt, who's been on a previous podcast not long ago, if you've followed him, I know you've seen some of his stuff, Gary, and he does this. I can't think of the word for it, but it's the behind the scenes. Is behind the scenes. And as he's built his business, he's done a lot of that along the way. He actually said that some of his best responses were from the behind the scenes stuff that he was, and a lot of his stuff was, he was doing some photos online, but talking through it as well on a podcast, just being real, like you said, reality TV, being real with people. And that's where people get to know people. The Knowlton brothers do it very well. And Dan and Lloyd are often saying that people walk up to them in the street and go, "Oh, hello, Lloyd." And he's like thinking, "Who the hell are you?"
Yeah.
It's that recognition, because they've got to know you. You don't know who they are, but they've got to know you. And that shows it's working. It's like a celebrity status. And as I'm not going to say the story again, but my friend who goes to see Arsenal play, and so does Alan Davis. I'm not going to repeat that story, but
we're not going to mention the A word, no.
No, it's not so much that.
Cut that out, editor.
Story
cut
about
that out.
3
cut
times on the podcast before. So if you want to know the story, listen to all the previous podcasts.
Yeah, no, we're cutting that bit out. No.
But he felt like he knew Alan Davis because he's seen him on the telly. But he said, "Hello, Al," and he looked at him like, "Who the hell are you?"
Yeah.
And said, and as being Alan Davis, he was very nice. "Yeah, hello, mate." Blah blah blah. But yeah. So that's my summary.
It happens to you all the time, Patrick. I know it happens to you all the time.
Well, indeed, that's right. People stop me in Tesco's all the time. That's normally to ask me where I.
No, it's only to ask you. Can you reach that bottle on the top shelf, please, Mister?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, ask me to check the warehouse. Right, okay, let's
segue.
Let's whisper saying, "Oh, that's the drunk."
I don't think our listeners and viewers have got 5 hours. Come on, guys. What's the next section?
So next one is video and how to get the most out of your video. So you've paid to have a professional video taken, and it's now the time that you need to promote that, or to use it to best capitalize on the money you've spent on having it done. So there's 2 steps to this. The first step is very little effort on your part, and it's about capitalizing on that professionally shot video. So one of the ways you can do it is you can talk about it, and you talk about it until people are tired of you referring to it, and then when you reach that point, you talk about it some more, because that's how it's going to stick in their mind. We've all seen those adverts where you sort of think that is dreadful, but they're the ones that we remember. Now, you don't want to be making a dreadful video to promote your business, so you've got to approach it from a different angle, and that angle is you talk about it, you talk about it, you talk about it until people say, "Yeah, I get it. You've had a video done, and it showcases your business," and then you mention it again, so they don't forget it. Okay. So that's one point. And that also goes to the theory that people need to see something or they say something a number of times before they own own that word. So if you're going to use a specific word, the theory I think is you have to use it correctly within a sort of a sentence 3 or 4 times before that word becomes yours, and then you remember what that word is and sort of how to use it. And it's the same concept with sort of showing people your videos. You do it enough times that they cannot get it out of their mind.
Right.
Have you got an example of that?
No.
I'm
no,
thinking
it's
like,
short answer. No.
Okay.
You've always got to ask a difficult question, Patrick.
Well, I thought I was trying to be very helpful there and ask a question.
So no is a short
You've
answer.
put him right on the spot now. Look.
If you take a particular word, and I'm a huge advocate of the thesaurus. I love it, and one of my favourite words that I've ever come across, and I now own because I've used it a number of times, is scuttlebutt.
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 I thought we.
No, I know that you
stopped.
don't feature this in your.
I thought we stopped all these long word things, Patrick. What's going on?
Scuttlebutt is basically just another word for gossip. So gossip around the photocopier, gossip around the water cooler, that sort of thing.
Oh, right.
Yeah, a corridor meeting.
Yeah, scuttlebutt, love it. If we were
It's
still
not
introducing
as
the
good
old
as
game,
mellifluous.
that would have been in there.
Patrick and I used to play this game.
Yes.
I think Gary might know that as he has to edit the videos and go troll through it.
I know, but I'm just doing it for the benefit of the listener or viewer.
Oh, I see.
We're going to hope at least one person's looking at this.
Carry on, Gary. Before Melvin rudely interrupted you.
That's the best example I can give you.
Scuttlebutt.
So step 2 then, it's at the very least you have to be committed to putting in a moderate level of effort with this step. Obviously, top effort would be more beneficial, but it depends on you as an individual, how much you want to drive. How much do you want to capitalize on that video and how much time you've got to do it. But it's not a simple, I've got a video, I've posted it once, it's going to work. Some work needs to go into this step. And that's creating your own videos.
Right.
And again, this is where the crossover between sort of the documentary photography comes in as well. So you can create the fly on the wall videos using nothing more than your phone.
Yeah.
Which for a day-to-day, folks, this is what I'm up to, is absolutely fine. You do not need to have a videographer following around all day capturing you, unless you've got the capital to be able to do that. Then obviously that'd be great, because then you just live your life, you do your day, everything gets captured and edited whilst you're doing other things. But what's
the benefit of having someone following you around then?
It gives you back the time, so you can just get on with your day. You know what I mean? That you want that content. Yeah. That content gets recorded and produced for you, so you don't have to worry about it. So the benefits of it are that you are then pushing this material, this content out to create that community feel, and people get to see and get to sort of know about you, how you are and your business. You're basically buying your time. And so if you've got the capital to do it, then obviously I would suggest you do that, because if you're not into video recording or video editing, the time it's going to take you to create anything is going to be far greater than it would be if you had someone do it for you.
Yeah.
So it's balancing the cost of having this done over your time, and how much you value your time, really.
Sure.
Yeah. And you could even, I mean, there is a hybrid of that as well, Gary, that you could record loads and loads of what you're doing on your phone, and then passing that on to a video editor to compile it and move the shots around and all that sort of stuff, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. There is that. But then what you also get, or one of the benefits also from having somebody recording you, you get the different angles, different
Yeah,
vantage
yeah.
points, and it's not all one angle all of the time, which tends to be sort of arms reach selfie type stuff.
And with the kit you use, is there a quality benefit?
There is. You don't have to spend the earth. Like I say, you can get, especially if you're doing sort of close up selfie stuff. The built-in microphones and things you get with the phones now are more than capable of dealing with that. If you want to, or if you're looking to get a broader vision of what you're doing, and you're going to be further away, then yes, you need to have someone who's got. I'm not talking about Hollywood studio massive cameras that we used to walk around with on our shoulders that you see that the press have. A half decent camera I've got for video stuff.
This is what everyone wants to see.
Right. So it was behind me the whole time. So for my still photography, I use a Nikon D750. It is a full frame camera. Now, I won't go into the technicalities of it too much because unless you're into photography, it's going to bore you to tears. All right. So this is my camera. This is what I use for my stills. A Nikon D750. And if there's anybody watching this, listening to this, who are uncertain about what cameras that they want to use, don't listen to anybody. There are people out there who absolutely detest Nikon and consider people who use Nikon not real photographers. Ignore those people. Get a camera that you feel comfortable with. Now, when I first got into photography, I bought a Nikon because at the time that was the brand that I could afford, and I've stuck with them ever since. Not through any sort of loyalty, but for ease of myself, because I can navigate my way around a Nikon camera without having to think about it. Because although the functions may change slightly, it's not like using a different brand. So if I hold my camera here, I know that I can hold focus, I can shoot, I can mess around with the dials. It's all there. Whereas on other camera bodies, it's not. It's different. It's learning another tool. Not that I'm adverse to learning a new tool.
Yeah.
But if I'm in a high stress situation, photographing weddings, for example, I don't want to be fumbling around over my kit. So I stick with what I know. D750 is probably considered quite an old camera now, because there are so many, a bit like cars, they bring out sort of one or two new versions a year. But if I was to buy a brand new camera, I could pick it up and use it straight away. If I bought another Nikon.
Yeah.
And that's the point I'm making there. So it's finding a camera that you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
And is affordable to you. That's just for people who are getting into photography. So, but for videos, I use a Lumix G80. That is a mirrorless camera. So it still produces the nice, big, clear filed shots as a full frame, but because it's mirrorless, it's a lot lighter.
Oh, okay.
And unlike with the still shot where I'll have it on a tripod, or I can just rest it down. I'll take a shot and then I can put it down. If I'm videoing, I've got it. I'm holding it all the time, whether it's in my hand or on a gimbal. I've got it and I'm moving it all the time. So I need something light, and that's why I went with the mirrorless.
They're terrific lenses, aren't they, Lumix?
They are fantastic. Yeah, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And don't they say, Gary, that rather than the camera, it's all about the lens, isn't it? Is that right?
Lenses are more expensive than camera bodies. Yeah. So you could be spending twice as much on a lens as you did on the actual camera body itself. Yeah, it's all about the sort of the glass that's in it. But not only that, you could have the most expensive camera known to man and the most expensive lens that money can buy. If you don't know how to use it, you are just a person with the most expensive camera that's got the most expensive lens attached to it.
There you go, Patrick. It's the user. Indeed.
A good craftsman doesn't blame his tools.
That's right.
We blame everybody else. That's right.
Yeah.
So obviously, in your world of video,
Yes.
there's a lot of add tos, isn't there? Like, you know, themes or borders you can put around, or music you can add to, and all sorts of
Yeah.
text you can overlay, and so on and so forth. This is all available to everybody, is it? Is it not now?
It is. Yeah. It's one of the things that are it's attainable and available to all, and I genuinely think that that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I don't look at that and think, oh, this is outrageous. They're basically taking money out of my pocket. No, I think it's a good thing.
That's a good thing. It is a good thing.
Yeah.
So
Very
can I
good.
ask
Sorry,
a key
Patrick.
question here, Gary?
Go on.
People, and you often see this on all the videos online, everyone's recommending the camera, recommending this, recommending that, because they've got some affiliate link that they get paid a couple of quid each time and blah, blah. But this is all very impartial. This is just you being very genuine about what you're doing.
Yeah.
To Joe Soap, who's thinking, oh, yeah, I might get something. I might not just want to rely on my, my smartphone. I might want to step up to get a camera and a lens and thing. What sort of budget should they be looking at in a range of that sort of a low end sort of budget range?
It depends on what they want to use the camera for.
Okay.
There is 0 point in, again, this is just personal opinion. It's the good thing about being a creative is everything that I do is subjective. So this is just my opinion. If you are going to just take photographs at home with the family, I generally do not see the point in buying a full frame camera, because you can spend thousands when you can buy a crop sensor for hundreds, and you'll get more than enough from that camera just taking shots at home.
Yeah.
Especially when you come to get used to using the camera and its settings. There's an awful lot that you can still do with a crop sensor, and you'll save yourself so much money.
Okay.
So it depends on what you're using. If you're going to go into it and create work for clients, then I guess skip the crop sensor, straight to full frame or mirrorless, and learn to use those. But more importantly, I think one way around it, and one way to really identify which camera and which brand best suits you, is to rent.
Oh.
There are plenty of companies out there who will hire and rent out cameras and lenses and lights and everything that you would need. There are companies out there who will post to you. You set the terms over when you or how long you would like it for, and then you just send it back when you're done, and then you pay for that privilege.
Okay.
So,
I never knew you could rent.
Yeah.
Rent
So
like
if anybody's sort of torn between two particular brands or a couple of lenses, just rent them over the course of a weekend. Just spend the weekend using them, getting the feel of them, see which ones you prefer, and then you make your decision. Rather than spending hundreds, if not thousands of pounds on this kit, thinking, oh, I'm going to love this, absolutely hating it, and then you're stuck with a couple of £1,000 loss, and you're either not going to be able to sell it on, or if you do, you're going to be doing it at a loss.
Yeah.
It's easy, it's better, financially makes more sense to rent first, identify what you like and what you can work with, and then buy it. And then you'll be better positioned to work out your budget yourself. And so, well, okay, yeah, well, I like this crop sensor, but I also like this full frame. I only want to take shots of the family at home, but I got on better with the full frame, so it's going to benefit me to spend that bit more, or vice versa.
Okay.
So Gary, let's come back to you as a business and the skill sets that you're offering out to the big wide world. Could you, or would you, or are you recognized as a director? Do you talk about a project? Do you storyboard that project? Do you come up with the solutions and all the various gizmos that make what you're filming or photographing? You know, do you give the whole package in story?
I don't label myself. I don't label myself as a director or CEO or anything like this. I am me, and
no, I meant a movie kind of director, not a company director. As in, you are directing.
Yeah, if somebody comes to me and says, okay, I need to do some short form videos for social media or for websites, things. It's not just I turn up and I'll video and then I'll give you what I get. It's very much I work with my clients to better understand what it is that they're trying to achieve, working through a storyboard and storyboarding it, and then there's that back and forth with ideas. This is what I've come up with. Are you happy with it? Because they have to be happy with it. A lot of the time is explaining to them sometimes that the ideas that they visualize themselves aren't achievable, and having to sort of have those sensitive conversations. But it's not just that's not going to work. It's always that won't work, but how about this? And it's always offering that alternative. And I mean, as a creative, I have my own creative vision, my creative output on or an input on a project. But there is also value in listening to people who aren't necessarily creative, because they might come up with something and they may say something that sparks something in my mind that I could say, right, on that idea, how about this? And it's about having that communication and that relationship with clients to say, this isn't you give me the brief and I'll go do it. This is a you and me thing. We are going to work through this together and do it together.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Great. That's great. Good. Excellent. So are we sort of covered that particular point, do you think, there, Gary? Should we move on to the next one?
Yeah, one other thing that I think is quite important, certainly for businesses, if you're doing the self videos, it's important to just get to the point and not to ramble. People's attention spans are becoming decreasing, or becoming sort of less and less, aren't they? It's decreasing all the time, and you can see it just through yourself as you scroll through your phone.
Yeah,
you're probably spending less time on a post than you did probably 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
So if you're answering a question for somebody, there's no point going on for 10-15 minutes by not answering the question. Getting there soon. I think certainly for social media, short form is becoming increasingly more popular, and you need to be answering these questions within 30 seconds to a minute. And then, but then the long form has its place still.
Right. Okay. And say in longer form, then say I'm answering a question, but I want to go into detail. I've got to pretty much point blank, bluntly answer the question within the first minute. And if I want to elaborate, I sort of bring the answer, then elaborate more if people want to hang around.
Yeah, but you need to create that interest and that hook to keep people watching, because you've already answered their question, so why are they going to stick around? So you kind of need to be offering that something else as well. So this is why you came to this video, because you want to know the answer to this. I'm going to tell you the answer to this, but what I'm also going to do is share with you something else that's going to complement this.
Right.
And that's going to keep people engaged in your content.
And that's your teaser then.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I'm going to answer the question straight away, but I'm going to dangle that carrot and say, but if you want this, I can also show you how to get this for this.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that makes good sense. And blunt and to the point, of course, Melvin's right with you there, I'm sure.
I'll tell you what, all joking aside, I'll tell you where they work best, with these posts like the Instagram stories and things like that are only there for 24 hours.
Right.
You can do a long form piece of content to answer someone's question, but then on like a story, which is only there for 24 hours, you basically you punch them in the face and you give them the answer straight away.
Yeah.
So they find the answer. They know it's only there for 24 hours. So if they want the answer, if they forget and they want the answer again, they come back and they watch the long form.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And I totally agree with you there, because I know on LinkedIn now, because the way the posts are formed, and then there you've got to click the see more. Once you click that see more, once that opens up and it's this massive long form bit of text, it's like, really? Is that necessary? A lot of that, it is that impatience, isn't it? And again, like you say with the video, when you see the video now, if it's on LinkedIn or YouTube, you look at it and you'll get various ones, and then you'll see one's 2 minutes and one's 12 minutes. You're going to go, all right, here we go, 2 minutes. That sounds better. Yeah. So true. So true.
So on that note, what's next?
Right. So just really some takeaways from the topics that we've covered. So photography and video. And I spoke about the benefits of having somebody video for you or somebody do these photos for you. And I've posted something before on my own LinkedIn and sort of titled it the ROI of photography. And I'm going to read this because otherwise I'll mess up the numbers. So the ROI of photography in its simplest form is there are 365 days in a year. So if you are going to post one photo per day, you only need 365 photos. 2 photos a day, 730 photos. If you're posting 3 photos a day, it's 1,095 photos. So let's presume that you only post Monday to Friday. Each week has 7 days. Working on the basis that each month has 4 weeks, brings you to 28 days each per month. Deduct 8 days to account for 4 weekends, brings you to 20 days. So if you post 1 photo Monday to Friday, you require 20 photos each month. Multiply that by 12 months in a year. For those of you who can't figure it out, you'll require 240 photos a year. So you're already gone from 365 to 240.
Yeah.
2 photos Monday to Friday, it's 40 photos a month, which is 480 photos a year over the 730. And if you're posting 3 photos Monday to Friday, you require 60 photos each month, which is 720 photos for the year instead of 1,095. So you pay someone like myself to come in and document your day. If I give you 720 photos from that day, you have enough content to enable you to post 3 times a day, Monday to Friday, for an entire year. Now, if you figure out what it costs to have somebody come in for one day to take those photos, you have a year's worth of content.
Yeah.
So what about through the year things change? What about edits, reshoots?
Payments come back and I do it all again.
Yeah, but is it done at a special rate? Is it done, on the fact that it's an ongoing arrangement? Is there a deal? Is there a deal that I know my business is forever evolving, where I could turn around and say to you, look, I need you every quarter? Well,
that would be something that you would iron out at the very, very beginning, and you'd form a contract, wouldn't you, and say, right, okay, at least so once a quarter I will come in and I will spend the day, and you'll work out your price based on that.
Sure, that's good.
Okay.
Well, Patrick, what do you think of all this video and photography stuff?
Well, I mean, you know, I like a bit of all that. I think, you know,
No, we're talking
like
about the
Gary says,
commercial photography we're talking about.
yeah, I mean, look, it's, you know, on all the social media platforms, we're all businesses and we're all trying to let people know what we're doing. I think, you know, Gary's touched on some really good points today where, yeah, people do want to see the background, the reality of it. You know, I've never seen the Kardashians, but I know who the Kardashians are because everybody tells me about them, because they had some reality TV show that I'd never even seen, but I've heard of them because it was just so popular. People love it. Gary's so right. And when you're revealing yourself like that, people like, it's like people like a story, don't they? If I said, I'm going to tell you a story about something inside of you instantly sort of sits forward a little bit. Oh, what are you going to tell me? And that's what you're talking about, Gary. But doing it in a visual form.
They've always said a picture is 1,000 words, and that's never changed.
No, that's right. That's right.
So you know, let's take it wider. An exhibition on having a big screen for people to look at what you do on the screen whilst they're on your stand. For a shop window, if you've got the security, a lot of estate agents have rolling displays and videos of product overnight while people are walking down the high street.
Yeah.
So many different applications for what Gary is able to produce.
No, definitely. And it's like, you know, years ago, you know, to get some sort of recognition to that scale, you've got to get involved in TV somehow, which was like a difficult thing to get into.
Yeah.
And now you can just have a YouTube channel for free, and millions of people can see your stuff. I mean, there's things like artists. I think Jessie J started from YouTube. Is that right? I think that was right, wasn't it?
Don't know. Never. I don't know who Jessie J is.
You don't know? Oh, he's just not down with the kids, is he, Gary?
He's not. No. What about Justin Bieber? You know,
Talk about someone that's older.
Oh, Barry Manilow.
Barry Manilow.
I don't think YouTube was around then.
I remember when he wrote for other people, like Bette Midler.
And I think Ed Sheeran, who we all
he was one that started through.
Ed Sheeran was a busker, wasn't he? Ed Sheeran started off busking.
He was busking as well, yeah.
Yeah, he was busking, but he had some sort of presence on social media as well, didn't he, Gary?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I know he's a busker.
Oh, right. Okay. Well,
I know Justin Bieber.
Melvin seems to know.
I know Justin Bieber, whether you like him or
is he one that did it?
Very Marmite, isn't he? But he was discovered on YouTube.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And look at where he is now. He's, he's
flying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, Gary, that leads me to ask you: are you a believer?
Unbelievably not.
Love it. Okay, so I was going to move on to my favourite round.
Yes, this is Gary's.
Which is the favouritism round.
Drum roll.
Are you ready for this, Gary?
Go on,
Are you geared up? Are you ready? So this is to anyone who's listening. This is to find out all about Gary and what his favourite things are. So I want to know, first of all, what is your favourite pastime or hobby?
Cycling.
Cycling?
Yeah, I bought a bike just over a year ago. So January last year, I bought a bike, and it's quite fair to say that I'm obsessed with it. I absolutely love it. So
tell me, is this a road bike or a mountain bike?
A road bike.
Okay. So are you what my friend used to refer to them as a mammal, a middle-aged man in lycra?
I'm a hybrid. I have the sort of the lycra top. I can't bring myself to wear the lycra shorts. So I have,
Oh, good
I have,
man.
I have sort of the baggier shorts. Yeah, they are cycling shorts, but they're baggy.
Can we straighten this conversation up, please, guys?
I'm hybrid.
No, I must admit, my eldest son, Craig, he got right into cycling and got this bike that was so light you could like pick it up with a finger and all that. But he would just go for hours and hours and hours. So do you cycle alone or in groups?
Predominantly alone. I have cycled in what was it, a group. I've got a couple of friends that are into it, and I've been out sort of just me and sort of one other at a time. I've never sort of cycled in a group, so to speak. But no, more often than not, it's on my own.
Yeah, I think it's, it's almost like fishing. You're alone, it's quiet, and
yeah. I take a camera. I put a camera on the handlebars to catch those near misses, those falls, and those such and the rides themselves. It's less about the ride; it's more about the near misses and me falling off the bike that I like to capture.
Well, you never know. You might get 250 quid from you being framed.
You never know. Nobody wants to see the routes I ride, but everyone wants to see me fall off.
yeah. No, that's very good. Very good. So, moving on from that, your favourite celebrity from any field and why?
I think my favourite actor has got to be Rob De Niro.
Robert De Niro.
Robert De Niro. Yeah.
And for what reason?
I think it's more to do with how I like his voice. Yes, it's very sort of. I don't think I've ever seen Robert De Niro in a sort of a hyperactive role or a shouty role. He has this very calm tone to his voice that says, "You mess with me, I'll end you."
Yeah, but it's his face, it's his facial expressions that do the hard man stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, Al Pacino's the same.
Yeah, they're very, very, very similar, aren't they?
Whereas Joe Pesci is more shouty, screamy, and more physical.
Yes. Yeah.
But De Niro is special. He's a unique kind of actor.
He is unique because he's done all those serious gangster mafioso roles.
Yeah.
But then in his latter years, he's done a lot of comedy roles.
And he's fantastic.
He is.
Analyze this, analyze that. I watch him over and over again.
But he hasn't had that that hyperactive comedy aspect to his. He's but maintained that I'm in a comedy, but you make fun of me and I'll kill you. That's what I like.
He's what I would call him a natural.
Oh yeah.
It comes to him naturally. It doesn't. He doesn't have to go and find it.
But he's funny on and off the scene, because if you ever see these films and you see the blooper reels of them, half the time he's playing pranks. He's messing about. And he was in a film called, it was about New Year's Day or New Year's Eve or something like that. It was a film, a compilation of lots of different people around New Year's Eve. And in the outtakes, in the scene, his daughter, which was, is it Hilary Swank? She was meant to go up in this lift and then push him out into the roof. So when they come up in this lift, he'd obviously said to her, right, quick, sit in the chair. And as the director's waiting to open the lift doors, he pushes Hilary Swank round the corner and bursts into laughter. He's just a funny guy.
He's a terrific guy. He's in a lot of trouble at the moment, isn't he?
He's got a what?
He's got a lot of trouble at the minute.
Has he?
Financial troubles, yeah.
Oh dear. Well, we'll have to have a whip round.
Yeah, you might need to.
Oh dear.
You might need to. But if you've ever seen the interview that he did with Joe Pesci and Pacino and the what's his name, Scorsese, when they were talking about the Irishman, they're talking about their past.
Oh,
that's a good watch.
Okay. Interesting.
It's where they talk about where they met. They talk about how they grew up. It's all. The fact of their background is highly related.
Right. Okay.
With Joe Pesci, with Frankie Valli, years ago, they were all involved with the mob.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, does Robert De Niro have a sort of gangster background in his real life? Then?
I don't know, but when you listen to it, you can think to yourself, there was obviously some loose connection.
Okay.
It's a bit like, the accusations that Frank Sinatra got himself, let's say, berated with his connection.
Allegedly, before anyone listening, you might know.
Well,
where
I said he
live.
got berated. I mean,
Allegedly.
there's no evidence to any of all this stuff. He got called up in front of a committee at the White House or the Senate or wherever it was, and just the whole thing's nonsense. I mean, look, everyone's got a background, and these guys are in the public eye, so they obviously get pulled out a bit more. But yeah, I think there is little connections.
Okay.
They turned that, whether it's true or not, they turned that to their advantage, didn't they? Especially Frank Sinatra.
Oh, very much so.
You think about how he took that, probably somebody's throwaway comment. He's all right, jumped on that and took it as far as he could.
Well, yeah, I mean, they still say even today that in The Godfather, the first film there was a singer, wasn't there, who was working for the mob.
Right.
And they even say now that was based on Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
That's what they still say.
Listen, there's all this, alleged this, alleged that. I mean, frankly, I think these are all phenomenal films. They're films that are never going to date. The actors that are in them, obviously your favourite actor we're talking about here, we've gone totally off track here.
You've digressed again, Melvin.
We're talking about legends. These are legends.
Yeah, definitely. So anyway, I'm going to bring us back on track, Gary, after Melvin's took us down this long path. And let's bring us back. So what is your favourite food or meal?
Right, I'll give you two here. So if I was to go dine out,
yes,
I would invariably always order a steak.
Oh, you're very traditional, are you? That's a very traditional man thing.
Hang on, wait for the other one. Wait for the other one.
I'm waiting.
But if I'm at home and if I can get away with it every day, my go-to would just be a pizza. I love a pizza. I absolutely love a pizza. Yeah. It's simple pleasures. It's simple pleasures.
Is it a pepperoni?
It doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter. Just I love a pizza. Yeah.
You'd never know it looking at you.
Well, that's why I started cycling.
Yeah.
So yeah, for every pizza, I cycle 10 miles.
Yeah, that's a good idea. You must
but Melvin,
more information on that diet, please.
Yeah, Melvin, you failed to realise that the local Domino's near Rayleigh is the most successful in the country, apparently.
That's fantastic.
Very good. Okay, so a very broad range between steak and pizza. So very good, very good. Right, here we go. Now we're getting on to my favourite bits of the favouritism around here. What is your favourite cartoon?
MēL and PāT.
Yeah, that would make a great cartoon. When you say cartoon, I think the first one that springs to mind, and probably the one that I will watch sort of more often than not, is Family Guy.
Ah, yes.
Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Family Guy is absolutely brilliant. Do you know what? The first time I ever watched The Family Guy was when they did The Family Guy talking through this first film of Star Wars and reenacting Star Wars. Yeah. Oh my goodness me! I've never laughed so much in all my days. That was absolutely hilarious.
He's very, very clever.
And they went through the entire film. They never missed a bit out of the whole Star Wars film. It was,
now let me tell you, he's a control freak.
What, Seth MacFarlane?
Oh my God, everything's got to be perfect.
He's what?
He likes everything perfect.
Yeah, but that's a creative, isn't it, Gary?
He's a tremendous talent. Tremendous talent.
Yeah. Excellent. No, and who's your favourite character from Family Guy, Gary?
John, I knew you were going to ask me that. I don't think I have a particular favourite. I think they're all quite good in their own sort of little way.
I like the little guy with the Rex Harrison voice.
Oh, is that not the one that's? Is it Huey? Huey?
Yeah, I think it might be.
Little baby,
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah. Oh, that must be absolutely brilliant. Creating that stuff. Oh dear, I'll have to sit in on that. Okay, no, that's good. So, Family Guy. Oh, here we go. We're getting to some good stuff now. Where's your favourite film?
Well, it's going to be a Robert De Niro one, obviously. I think of all the films that he has done, the one that I can sit and watch back to back over and over and over again is Ronin.
Ronin, yeah, good movie.
Ronin. Ronin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it. They had it on TV not long ago. Again.
Yeah.
Oh, I've not seen this one.
Oh, I won't say too much then to spoil it, but go and watch it. It's.
I think it's a good choice.
Is it something to do with samurai? Is it?
Well, it's.
Stop playing with Google, Patrick.
Well, I want to find out what it's about.
Well, no. So, Ronin, as in, with respect to samurai, are basically samurais who failed to protect their master, become basically masterless, and they are referred to as Ronin.
Ah,
that's the concept behind sort of Ronin within samurai context.
Right.
So basically, Ronin the film, you've got all these characters who are basically hired hands. They don't have employees. They're hired hands, and that's where that sort of that link is. But
almost like they're mercenaries like because they haven't got a master. They travel about.
Yeah, a paid killer.
Hired help.
Yeah, hired help indeed. Okay, very cool. Okay, the film Ronin. So, there we go. Favorite TV show of all time.
I'll be honest, I don't really watch a great deal of TV.
Be one of the kids' programs then.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back to what I would. I'll tell you what. I think thinking back, one of the TV shows that I watched, and there are a number of different sort of series and locations, and I'd quite happily sit there and watch through them all again. It was CSI.
Oh, my favourite.
Yeah, that had a real cult following. I've never watched any episode of CSI yet, so
yeah, that's
oh, they're wonderful. Particularly the early ones. The early ones were great.
What were the names of the characters again?
Well, it depends, because you had the Vegas, New York, Miami. With the three main. I think they tried to do some sort of crossover with.
There was the original was Vegas, though, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
Miami took it. Let's say took the favoritism because of its location. The photography was sensational.
Okay. Yeah. If you look at it from a visual perspective as well, when you look at Vegas was very, very green in its color and its color grading. New York was very blue, and then Miami was very yellow.
Oh, okay.
But then that's just me being a geek.
See, that's the photographer eye, you see.
Yeah. So it had they had those washes over them. But yeah, that's probably not something that most would notice. But I'm sure there's people out there go, yeah, I'll clock that.
Okay. Now, when I used to eat my dinner, I was always well known for saving the best till last. So this is the final one. What is your favourite comedy? The great Fernon Cogs. I can hear him whirring.
So many. I think the one that, when you say comedy, the one that again that immediately springs to mind was Only Fools and Horses. I'm sure if I sit here and think about it, I'll think of others that I also sort of like in equal measure. But put me on spot. Only Fools and Horses is the one that comes to mind.
Only Fools and Horses. Yeah, no, there's some classics out of Only Fools and Horses. I think when he fell through the bar was the ultimate classic, wasn't it? And that was an accident, wasn't it? That was an accident.
Apparently so, yeah.
And they said that was so good. Let's reenact that.
There's two stories. There's two stories to that because allegedly it was planned.
Oh right. Oh, okay.
Allegedly, the big one was the chandelier.
Yes. Yeah. Have you ever heard the documentary about the chandelier?
I watched it yesterday.
Yeah. Because he told Nicholas Lyndhurst, because Nicholas Lyndhurst could easily giggle, couldn't he? And he said, "I'm watching you." He said, "You've got to keep a straight face when that thing falls, because we haven't got another one."
That's right. And the other one was when they obviously won all the 7 million when they put the watch in auction. That whole set was amazing. But the most memorable one for me out of all of them was Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
Oh, Batman and Robin.
Trigger in that one as well, because they end up going to a wake, don't they?
Yeah.
Just as Batman and Robin. And old Trigger, you're brilliant, isn't he? He's oh, Dave. So I feel a bit overdressed. What do you mean? I've come as a chauffeur. Come as a chauffeur to a wake.
But that was so beautifully written.
Oh yeah, it was very, very good.
I mean, that's really the best of English, that is.
Yeah, some good old British humour in there. Excellent. Well, that's fantastic, Gary. So well done for participating in the favouritism round there. I do like that. And for our guests, our listeners, all both of them, up in Runcorn there. So if they like to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you, Gary?
It's if it's on social, then to be honest with you, LinkedIn or Twitter is where I'm sort of heavily at. Or you can email me, and it's gary.fernon at photoreceptorcell.co.uk. I won't spell it because what I'll do, I know who's going to be editing this, and I'll just put it on the screen.
You have a word with him, will you?
Yeah, hello.
Excellent. Well, if there's nothing else to add, because I know Melvin will, tell us off after this goes off. You see, Melvin tells us off for going on too long.
I can tell you, we've been going for an hour and a half, chaps. I'm not sure if the listeners or the viewers would want to be listening for an hour and a half. So listen, it's your choice.
and so, without further ado, then it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him. And it's a very big goodbye from
me, him.